What's up, crypto enthusiasts? Welcome back to Why Staking, and I'm so happy to talk to you about staking today. Finally, today is New Year's Eve 2020. That is one day after listing on Uniswap. You can see that we listed here. We are the number 7 pair, and we're very, very different than the rest. We'll go through that in a minute. So we don't have our icon yet. We'll get that pretty soon. We're still too new, but $90 million of liquidity. We're the top 7 pairs on Uniswap, the biggest decentralized exchange in the world. And now let's do a recap of what happened. So, first thing you need to understand about Wise is I don't have any tokens that I got for free, and nobody else does. My dev team does not have any tokens that they got for free. No investors have tokens that they got for free. Wise is a fair launch. And what we did during the last 50 days was the contract auctioned off half of the supply. So about 250 million Ys in a 50-day auction. So every single day was an auction. Every single day you had about 5 million Ys available. And we started off with about 1,000 users. And then the first day was 645 total Ether, and then 5 million Ys got distributed between those users that paid the Ether. Day 2 was the cheapest day anyone could have gotten Ys. You got about 10,000 Ys for every Ether sent into the contract, and that worked out to be about 6 cents at the time. So after this lowest day, we had an incredible amount of traction, and we had more and more and more people coming. Until the very last week when it just blew up and exploded. Our very last day, we had 3,283 total Ether for the same 5 million Ys daily that was being auctioned off. So it went from 6 cents to people paying about 50 cents here at the very end. And I've been telling people for the past week on my live streams that, hey, it's probably not a good idea to be putting this much money in the auctions because the listing price on Uniswap is going to be the average price over all 50 days. And that's very clear in the materials, and I made that very clear on my videos as well. So what ended up happening is people paid up to 50 cents right before our listing, and we listed at 16 cents. So there's some people that paid 50 cents and it listed at 16 cents. Now, what happened was immediately there were so many people waiting that we had over $14 million, actually, no, over $20 million worth of buys immediately. The liquidity pool went from 80 million all the way up to 104 million, topped out at 25 cents. So from 16 cents to 25 cents, that is a 50% candle in about 10 minutes. And then, of course, you get your sell-off from there because some people buying here are just trying to do the swing trade. That's what we see here, cooling off from the people who just wanted to trade it and don't want to stake it. But we are still sitting at, look, 16 cents versus 19 cents right here. And that is, let's go ahead and look at the liquidity. So we started with 80 million liquidity. We still have a net positive $10 million of liquidity right here. You can see that there's 61,700 Ether, and compared to the 5,700, or actually it was only 55,900 that we started with. So that is really, really good for us. This is pretty close to what I predicted. I said, I expected the initial hype and a cool down from there. And the last part of my prediction was I don't think it'll go all the way back down to listing price. And I think that as we gain traction, that we will slowly stair step up from here. Because what is happening now is that people are staking. You can see 60 million Ys is staked. And there's only about 250 to 300 million in circulating supply. So we're talking like 25% is already locked up less than 24 hours afterwards. The more that gets locked up, that means the scarcer Ys is. That means new people coming in who are like, hey, what is this thing? How in the world do they have 90 million of liquidity on day one? Like, those people are going to get in, and that just drives up the price more and more. Because right now, we've got less than 10,000 users. Less than 10,000 users right now. And we have this amount of money. Now we're listed on Uniswap. People can see us at rank 7. As soon as we get to our icon, and people are like kind of wondering what in the world is going on. Once they figure out what the opportunity is, they're going to want some. And once we have 50,000 users, like, that's inevitably going to drive up the price significantly. So we're going to talk about staking today. Once I finish talking about what's going on here, but I wanted to check out the holders as well, because Wise is very, very different than other cryptocurrencies. Like, you know how I told you that I don't get any for free. There's no big bag holders. Everybody had to buy them on the auction. Like, it completely fair. And so if we look at the holders right now, we can see that the biggest holder has about 11 million Wise right now. So that's the biggest holder. That's only 2.7%, and they're almost double the next biggest guy. But let's look at what $11 million, 11 million Wise would actually do to the price. So here's the pair right here. If we did 11, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 11 million Wise selling would only get, well, even only, but it would get 2,700 Ether. It would only move the price by price impact 4.41%. So our biggest whale that has like over $1 million, looks like, $2 million now since the price has gone up, could only move the price by 4.41%, and the next biggest guy is like almost half that size. So this is the power of Wise, and the really interesting thing about our liquidity is that this liquidity pool right here, it can't be rug pulled. The reason it can't be rug pulled is because the Wise contract, after creating this, sent the Uniswap LP tokens to a burn address, meaning nobody can ever pull that liquidity. So the only way to access this Ether, it is unowned. So the only way to access it is if you already have Wise tokens and you would cash them out. So that's the only people who can access this Ether. And we have a price floor, because even if 100% of people sold all their Wise, so if all the holders immediately sold their Wise, now of course we know that's not going to happen. We got 60 million tied up in stakes for years and years. But even if they did, even if no one staked and sold all their Wise, there would still be 20, 30,000 Ether left in the contract backing up the price. So this is the power of asset-backed crypto. This Ether cannot be pulled. It can, like, the only way to access it is to sell your Wise. That means if you're a Wise holder, you are backed by this pool of Ether right here. And as more people buy Wise, they're going to add to that pool of Ether. Then you're going to be backed by more and more and more Ether. And so the big deal here is that Wise is the first Ether-backed cryptocurrency, such that if the price of Ether goes up, your bags go up too. Because if the price of Ether goes up, that the price of this 61,703 Ether, this $45 million worth of Ether goes up, which means when you cash out for Wise, you get your Ether back and be able to realize the gains from that as well. So other tokens that are paired with Ether, they're not backed, because somebody owns that Ether. They could pull the liquidity, and also there's not enough Ether to back up the entire market cap. But here our market cap is only at slightly bigger than $100 million right now. So we have almost half. Like when we listed, we had exactly half of the market cap was in Ether. Now we're slightly below that because people have been buying on Uniswap, but we have like 45% of our entire market cap is in Ether, and that means when the price of Ether goes up, you are going to be able to realize those gains. So you not only get the gains from Wise, but you gain the gains from Ether. So now let's see how you can get the gains from Wise, because if you're new here, you're going to be wondering, like, okay, this is an interesting looking price chart. Looks pretty strong. Wow, $90 million worth of liquidity. That's pretty interesting. So how can I make money with Wise? Because it's cool that it's backed by Ether, but why wouldn't I just want to hold Ether? Why would I want Wise? So let's talk about that. And let's talk about staking. So the staking portal is right here, and there's 3 different types of staking, but only regular staking is available right now. In about 14 days, insurance stake is going to be available. And the difference between insurance stakes and regular staking is that regular stakes, you can make a stake for up to 42 years. As short as 1 day, but as long as 42 years. Insurance staking, you can only make stake for up to 3 years. However, there's a reason why you might want to save some Wise for insurance staking, and that is because there's heavy penalties that come with regular staking if you end your stake early. So if you end your stake early in regular staking, you could be losing 50, 60, 70, up to 90% of your principal if you end your stake right away, like the day after you made it. So losing 90% principal, that's kind of ridiculous. There's a reason for that, and there's a reason we want people to, do the end of their stakes. You need to do all the time that you put. So you get to choose how long your stakes are for, but if you end it early, then there's a price to pay for that. So the reason why you might want to save some wise for insurance staking is because insurance staking, when you end, has a much less severe penalty. If you have completed 50% of your stake, you're only going to lose 10% of your principal. And that's a really good reason to save some for insurance staking, because you might want to cash out, or you might have an emergency sometime down the road. It's nice to have that insurance, knowing that at any time you could end that stake and at least get 90% of your principal back, instead of being, ruined on principal if you are forced to end stake because of, whatever circumstances. Collateral staking, that's coming much later. You can't expect that for another month or two. We're still building that, but insurance staking should be out by January 13th. All right, so let's talk about regular staking. Now, if you were to create a regular stake, you would just do it right here. You would put however much wise you want to stake. Let's do 10,000 wise. And what you're going to do, it says you got this thing over here called shares. Now, when you create a stake, you are actually burning your wise temporarily, because for the duration of your stake, your wise gets burnt and traded for shares. Shares are simply your interest earning power, because the wise system has inflation, just like how Bitcoin has inflation that pays miners every 10 minutes for completing blocks. Well, wise doesn't reward miners. We don't need that. We already have Ethereum miners that we pay gas fees to. So instead, the inflation from wise pays stakers. So there's a pot of available wise every single day, and it gets proportionally distributed to stakers. So that means, if you stake, the more shares you have, the bigger piece of that pot you're going to get, because you're competing with everybody else for that same pot of wise every single day. So here's shares, and there's a share price, and share price goes up. So now share price is not correlated with the price of the token at all. This is just a mechanism to make sure that the earlier you stake, you're rewarded more. So don't think that share price has anything to do with regular price or token price. Share price is just a mechanism that makes sure if you get in earlier, you get more shares, which means you're earning more interest. So you can see that the global share price up here is at 0.1. So if I'm staking 10,000 wise, I'm going to get 100,000 shares just from staking 10,000 wise, no matter what. Like, I can stake it for any length, 1 day. I could stake it for 1,000 days. I'm still getting that share price, and that's how that works. Now, share price goes up, and it goes up every time someone creates an ROI. So if somebody ended their stake and made it higher ROI than anybody else in the system, then share price goes up a bit. However, for the time being, for the next 14 days until January 13th, the contract is holding the share price down at 0.1. So that means as long as you figure out your staking strategy and get it down in the next 14 days, and lock in your stakes by January 13th, then you're going to be good to go. You're going to get that cheapest share rate available. After that, it's going to go up immediately 10%, and then just continue to go upward and upward from there. And that just means that the earlier you lock in your stakes, the better. So after your stake ends, whether it be 1 month, 1 day, 5 years, 42 years, you're going to have to stake again, but you don't have to stake again. But if you do stake again, you're going to be paying the current share price, which is going to be much higher than this share price than when you started. So it pays to lock in your stakes during these first 14 days. So before January 13th, you want to do that. The next mechanism is here, and it's staking duration. You could stake as short as 1 day, or you can stake as long as 15,330 days, which is 42 years. So you can see there's a duration bonus, because you start off with whatever shares you're going to get. We're going to say 100,000 shares right here. Then there's a duration bonus. You get extra shares. So this isn't principal. You're not getting 30% extra principal. you're getting 30% extra shares, which earns you interest every single day. That's what shares do. So basically, now you see it's 30% extra for 42 years. However, the bonus really falls off hard after 5 years. So you can see it's 25% for 5 years, 30% for 42 years. So really, the biggest bang for your buck is stake up to 5 years. That 5 years is going to give you 25% extra shares. Now it's also scaling as well. So you can see that you don't have to be exactly 5 years or exactly 3 years. Like let's just put 1,000 days. See, it's going to give you a scaling benefit. Dependent on how long you stake. So you can put in however many days you want, as little as 1 day. That's not a very big bonus for shares. And there's quick buttons here in case you want to just do it 3, 4, 5 years. But you can type in anything you want. So let's go ahead and do 365 and stake for 1 year. That's going to give us an extra 5%. And then if you have if you're using a referral link, you're going to get an automatic 10% bonus. Now this you can't change it by editing the field right here. If you want to change your referral link, then you're going to have to click on another referral link and then it will update automatically. Or if you don't have any referral link, there's going to be a button here that says, use team address. So if the referral link that you use, the person or people or media that brought you into Wise, like you should keep on using their referral link. They're the people who brought you here, and it doesn't matter whether you use their link or somebody else's link. It's still the same 10% benefit. So that's why we don't allow editing here. If you want to change it, then you're going to have to click on another referral link. So that's that, and you can see that instead of 100,000 shares, because of my bonuses, I'm now going to have 115,000 shares. That's going to earn me Wise every single day. Then I would do create a regular stake. My MetaMask pops up. I can edit the gas fees to whatever. $20 gas fees, that's ridiculous right now. So I'm going to wait until gas fees go down a little bit. Like the time of day and stuff is going to determine that. And you can also check out on ETH gas station, ethgasstation.info to see what the GWEI rate is going. And I'll show you how you would edit the GWEI. So you go to edit right here, go into advanced, and then you would edit the GWEI. Don't touch the gas, don't touch this, but edit the GWEI. So it said 72, and so that would be that right there. So that's like $28 in gas fees, not something I'm willing to pay right now. And so you got to take this into account when, like, how many stakes you make, because you can make as many stakes as you want. But obviously you're going to have to pay a gas fee for each one. So I'll make another video on ladder staking, which is just, all the different ways you can split up your stakes to have, Wise coming due whenever you want. But it's really up to you how to do it. There's an infinite number of ways that you can do it. And it really depends on your financial needs. But this is how you create that stake. We went over global share price, how that factors in. I think that about covers it for this video, guys. But I'm going to come out with another video soon about our marketing strategy. My overall feel of what has happened is I'm extremely happy. I'm really happy to see 25% staked just less than 24 hours after. I'm really happy to see a net positive of $10 million in buys in the first 24 hours. I'm really happy to see that we start at 16 cents and we're still trying to find out where we're going to settle in right here. I know that as soon as people figure out that, oh my goodness, this is something that can really pay, that they're going to want it, and it's just going to be off to the races from there. Because this is people who just were trying to trade, but they moved the price up 50%, which is pretty awesome, and still less than 10,000 people here. I can't imagine what's going to happen, in a few months or so when we have 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 users who are really excited about what's going on. So there's one more thing to talk about, because it's like people want to know exactly how much money can I actually make. And so it's pretty complicated to figure out exactly how much money you're going to make. However, like Wise is about the fundamentals, and I know that by having the fundamentals right, that the price action is going to play out well. So first of all, this staking, this is just about creating more Wise. So this is how you get more Wise. So you start with 10,000 Wise. This is how to get to 15,000 Wise, 20,000 Wise from just staking within the system. But the actual gains come from the fact that more people enter the system. So right now less than 10,000 users. In a few months could be 20, 30,000 users. That's people buying Wise, driving the price up versus Ethereum in this pair right here. So that's one way that you can get really exponential gains from more people entering into the system. And then the second way is because it's backed by Ether. And so when if you think Ether is going to go to $1,000, $2,000 over a period of time, well, then you get those gains too. So I've made a spreadsheet to explain exactly how that goes. And so this spreadsheet only covers the price appreciation of Wise token and the price appreciation of Ether. It doesn't include interest. So if you are staking and earning interest, that's an addition to this chart. I'm just going over the price action. So we talked about how Wise is backed by ETH. And so this yellow box assumes, how much is ETH going to go up? This is a price multiplication of 2. So, it's at $600. It went to $700 really recently, but this is assuming you got in at $600 ETH and it goes to $1,200. Or if you got in at $700 ETH, then it goes to $1,400. This is the amount of Ether sent to Uniswap initially, so $40 million worth of Ether. It was actually $41 million. I'll adjust this price to be exact because we did list at 16 cents, not 15 cents. But for the purpose of this illustration, this basically shows how much net positive buys on Uniswap are we going to get. So right now we're at $10 million of net positive buys in just one day. So I am guessing over time, over a year's time, we will be at $243 million of net positive buys. If we raise $41 million in 50 days, that's just like a straight line, of expectations. We could raise, $500 million over a year's time. Who knows? But this is just, a straight line prediction of what's happening now just continues over the next year. So if we get $243 million worth of net positive buys, and if the price of Ethereum doubles, then that's a 50x of Wise versus Ether and a 2x of Ether versus the US dollar. The price of Wise will be $14, and that will be a 100x ROI. So this is what's possible. It's only possible in Wise because we have all this Ether backing up the entire price. So no other project has 61,703 Ether backing up their price. Certainly none that are ownerless. Like I said at the beginning of this video, the only people that can cash out on this Ether are people that have Wise. This is locked forever. The keys, like the Uniswap LP tokens, they sent to a burn address. Nobody can ever remove this liquidity, unlike all the other pairs. So it is legitimately backed, 100% decentralized, trustless contract. We have our biggest holder could only tank the price 4%, absolutely ridiculously small amount. So we have no massive bag holders manipulating the price like other tokens. And this is unprecedented. This is a beautiful project that you don't see anywhere else. So people that really understand tokenomics, and even if you don't, and you just understand one thing or two things about what I'm saying, you realize that this has amazing potential. We could be a top 5 cryptocurrency in less than a year. And that's fully what I'm expecting to happen. So we have an amazing thing that happened in the last 24 hours. Even if you're getting in right now, think about it. The price is 19 cents right now. A lot of people paid more than 19 cents. Some people paid less, but not a whole lot less. Like, there's definitely nobody that only got in on day 2 and got it at 6 cents and then didn't participate in any of the other auctions. Most people got it, even if they got it during the beginning, they're still at about, 9 cents, 10 cents average if you got really, really, really lucky. So you're getting in at a price that is really, really good. You have no massive bag holders ready to cash out on your head. If the biggest whale in the entire system cashed out, the price would only go down 4%. You've got massive potential to make incredible gains because you're getting in before 10,000 users. And as more people come in, they're going to be buying more Ys and pumping up the price and pumping up your bags. It is just an incredible, incredible opportunity. So thank you so much, everyone, for being part of this. This has gone so well. Like, every single part has gone so smoothly. I could not be happier. Be watching for more videos and official updates from this channel. And until next time, happy staking, and I'll see you in the next video.